So this is our INST326 final project. So we wanted to mimic a library management system and its processes. And so we created a library that allows for users to check out books in the book library, return books in the book library, view if someone has already checked out a book, and it'll also recommend books based on similarities in author, um, or if they're books that have a higher score rating. And it also allows for a comprehensive view of all the books in the system. And I think there are about 55 books in the book list file. So, what is a library management system? It's a software application used by libraries to manage their resources more efficiently. It helps a librarian maintain a database of the books that are borrowed, and it allows them to keep a better track of the library's collection, monitor circulation, and provide better services to patrons. And it essentially automates all aspects of a library under a more centralized platform. More advanced library management systems can generate reports on library usage, circulation statistics, and other important data. So to run our file, we a special books data CSV is required, and pandas, of course. And so our book CSV contains 55 selected books, and it has columns. So from the left to the right, they read book ID, title, authors, and average rating, which is on a scale from 0 to 5. So, so our class book information is a class that logs the books in the library, allows for input, and allows for recommendations based on rating and author. And our first method, get book info, returns all book information, reads all book information from the CSV that I mentioned before. Continuing on, our checkout book method allows us to, of course, check out books, and it'll also notify if the book has already been checked out and by who. So I'll just give you a moment to read over our project design for that. And continuing on, our checked out book method allows us to see if a book has been checked out before. It finds information based on the file and prints out that information. There are also two additional methods, the return book and the recommend book, that aren't in this presentation, but their names are pretty self explanatory. There's also a testing file which creates a mock CSV and checks if our code can run uh, that tests successfully. And our testing file is separate from our main code, but it's also included in our GitHub directory. So for problem solving, um, a challenge was having, at first, a big challenge was having Python actually be able to read the book data CSV and properly matching up the columns and making sure it wasn't reading the commas in between um, each book and the each column. And so we also needed to remove all spaces and use slashes for books with multiple or different authors. So, for example, that Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince, we needed to use a slash between the J.K. Rowling and the Mary Grand Prix. Additionally, we also had a conflict that was caused by different changes from to the same file on different lines. So that was pretty challenging at first. We fixed it by using a command line in the code to resolve and override the conflict. And that's our presentation. So I'm going to give you a little demo of how our code works. So when you run the code, it'll pop up in the terminal So you have six different options. You can view book information, check out a book, view books that are already checked out by option two, and you can also return a book, recommend books based on a higher scoring level or same author, and you can also exit the library management system. So I'm going to show you how to view book information. So press one, and then you'll have to enter in the title. So we'll put in Morris, and so it gives us our title, the author, and its average rating. So let's say you want to check out, you really like the book Morris, and you like to check out the book, you would press two. And so Morris is the last book in the book's data CSV, it's number 55. So you would put in 55 as the ID. My name is David, so I'll put in my name. And so it'll say the book has been checked out by David. So if you want to also look at checked out books, you'll press option 3, and uh, it'll show you Morse is checked out by me. So let's say I want to return a book, that's option 4. So you'd enter the book ID. The book ID is 55. And so book ID 55 has been returned. So now if I go back to view checked out books, you can see it's successfully been returned and no books have been checked out. And so let's say you want to recommend, you read a book that you really liked and you wanted to get recommendations. So that's going to be option 5, and we're going to put in our book title. So let's say I mentioned Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince earlier, so I'll put that in as our book title. And we have to be very careful not to include the comma. And so it'll give us recommended books. So these are all by J.K. Rowling, and uh, yeah, so these all have the same authors. So if you enjoyed Half Blood Prince, it'll also give you other books to read as well. And option 6 is to exit. So, yep. So it'll end the program. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and have a good one.